All right, guys, we haven't done this in a few weeks, so let's check back into the national media's power rankings to see where the Jaguars land. Let's get it. Now, before we get into this one, this video is sponsored by BetUS. Guys, BetUS has all different kinds of wagers you guys can make for this upcoming game. Right now, I believe the Jaguars are 6.5-point favorites against the Cincinnati Bengals. Of course, that line changes as the game gets closer. And, for my preview video, which will probably come out on Thursday, we're going to go more over really what the line is at right now and where I recommend you guys go. But, guys, if you guys are interested in putting a wager on any of these games, whether it be Thursday or the Jaguars don't play any game on Sunday because we're actually Monday Night Football for once, you guys can do all that on BetUS. Link down in the description for a 125% deposit bonus. Put down 100, you're going to see $225 show up in your account. So thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Now let's get on to this power ranking reaction video. So the first power ranking I'm going to go through is the CBS Sports one because Pete Prisco is my favorite national guy. Of course, he has a show on 1010XL on Monday nights with Tony B. And he has the Jaguars at number 7 in the power ranking, saying by beating the Texans, they have a firm lock on the division. Trevor Lawrence finally had the big game throwing it, which is a good sign going forward. Yeah, and that's the big thing. After the 49ers game, we were all a little bit worried about Trevor Lawrence and the offense, but Trevor Lawrence the last 2 weeks maybe put out a couple of his best performances that we've seen, just throwing all kinds of lasers. And, you beat down the Tennessee Titans, which is one thing, but going into hostile environment in Houston and being able to play the way that Trevor Lawrence did, it is really, really good, and it's exciting because now, like he said, they have a firm lock on the division. Look, the Jaguars, all you have to do is go 4-2 the next 6 games, beat Tennessee in that 4-game, part of those 4 wins, and it doesn't matter what the Texans do, you have the AFC South in your hands. So that's all pending the Texans needing to run the table and go 6-0. So nothing's guaranteed, especially with a pretty tough game now this week against the Broncos, because you look, the Texans play the Broncos, and look, that's number 10 and 11 right here in the power rankings. So, Jaguars up 2 spots. Next, we will look at the Yahoo power rankings. They had the Jaguars at number 8. Said the Jaguars are nearly a lock to take the division after a big win at the Texans. So another one alluding to the fact that AFC South belongs to the Jaguars. Order is restored. Here, let me move this over for you guys a little bit. Last year, Trevor Lawrence was inconsistent early in the season and awesome in the second half. He hasn't been great this season, but 2 weeks ago, he had his best passer rating of 2023, and Sunday he had his highest passing output with 364 yards. That's a really good sign for Jacksonville. And the best sign is the 8-3 thing, which, a lot of people are like, oh, well, Trevor Lawrence box score, it's not great. Look at all this different stuff. But look, Trevor Lawrence hasn't really had to really air it out in the fourth quarter because we've been up by so much. And, usually your best passing outputs are in the fourth quarter. So he hasn't really been forced to do that. I like this synopsis by Yahoo. Next up, we will go to Fox Sports. Fox Sports also has the Jaguars at number 8. I'm just not sure we're talking enough about the season that Josh Allen, guy I'm wearing a jersey for, edge rusher, not the quarterback, is having. The guy has a career best 12 sacks for a division leader and never gets mentioned amongst the league's top pass rushers. As well as Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley played against Houston, Jacksonville needs Allen to continue leading the way on the other side. Yeah, and I think he had 2.5 sacks against the Houston Texans. And look, 2 of those sacks came on the final drive of the game, or at least 1.5 of them came on the final drive of the game where, they forced the Houston Texans to need to kick a 58-yard attempt on a 4th and 12, and the rest was history. Man, he came up big on that drive, and it wasn't like he went against some scrub either. It was against Laramie Tunsil, a former Pro Bowler. So that is really, really cool to see. And look, he's gonna make a lot of money, and I think I made a pretty good investment in this jersey, as the only 2 jerseys I actually have of this new era uniforms are Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence. I actually bought this uniform in 2021, I believe it was, when he went out and it was either 2020 or 2021, but he went out there, basically put his neck out there and said, Jaguars, I want to play in Jacksonville for the rest of my career. I love them. Like, great city, great team. This is my team. And, that was all after the whole Jalen Ramsey mess went down. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to support this guy. I need to get this guy's jersey because I need to hear that kind of stuff, that you actually want to be in Jacksonville instead of all the other kind of crap we've dealt with. So they're up one spot. They have the Houston Texans right behind us. They said, sorry, but I don't think, much less of the Texans, that they're missing out on overtime against Jacksonville by a doink. C.J. Stroud is an amazing player, and I believe he and his receivers give Houston a chance against virtually any team in the league. Just not above Jacksonville, baby. All right, next up, we'll go to PFT. PFT always has the Jaguars in a good spot, usually has a kind of a sly comment, but he said that loss to the 49ers might have helped them more than a win ever could have, which, yeah, that might be pretty accurate. The Jaguars, after this one, last two games has been really good for us, and that might be a pretty true statement right there. But they had the Jaguars at 6, above the Cowboys and above the Lions, right behind the Dolphins. Ooh, big advertisement, and the Ravens. Ravens at number 3. It's gonna be a big one coming up in a couple of weeks. Now SI.com has the Jaguars at number 8. I mentioned on this podcast, and while I'm open to having my mind changed, I feel like Sunday's doink saving win over Houston Texans solidified for me that the AFC is now the Chiefs alone, the Ravens in the second tier, and the Jaguars and Dolphins in the third tier. While I wouldn't be stunned to see Jaguars and while I wouldn't be stunned to see Jacksonville get hot in a tournament, they are young and have a defense capable of generating a lot of turnovers under the right circumstances. I also don't have Super Bowl vibes at this point. Working against that hunch is the fact that the Jaguars are perfect on the road this year. Okay, so strong thoughts on that one. Like I said earlier, the Jaguars will get a direct shot at the Baltimore Ravens at home this season on Sunday Night Football. So hopefully, ideally, maybe both teams keep winning, and that final game is, both teams with a tied record, and it's truly for, the better playoff spot. And it's definitely going to be for head-to-head. Going to be an awesome game, and I will be there. So I'm excited about that. Next up, we have NFLcom. They have the Jaguars at number 7. So their synopsis was, let me close out of this. Trevor Lawrence's production hasn't been mind-blowing, but his third NFL season is emerging as a very good one. Following a bit of a slow start and Sunday's win over the Texans, Lawrence nearly threw for a career high in yards. Even factoring in humbling 49ers loss in Week 10, Lawrence has been at his best in recent games, with his confidence clearly rising when it comes to taking deeper kill shots. His massive second half against the Houston helped the Jaguars hold off the Texans and maintain a strong edge in the AFC South. With 6 games left and only one more true powerhouse, Baltimore Week 15, remaining on the Jaguars schedule, there's bad news too. With left tackle Cam Robinson out for at least the next 4 games, we know what happened when he missed the first 4, and the offensive line never quite reached peak form. The Jaguars are almost certainly in the playoffs, but they can't afford to have the offense fall apart as we creep into December. So yeah, that final statement, this is when you got to understand that these are national guys that try to cover 32 teams, because Cam Robinson being out isn't like a huge stab in the side, because Jaguars traded for Ezra Cleveland, and Ezra Cleveland at left guard and Walker Little at left tackle might be actually better than Cam Robinson at left tackle and Walker Little at left guard. So if those guys stay healthy and if those guys continue to play well, Cam Robinson might be watching the playoffs from the bench. You never know. That's one to think about. So lastly, we have ESPN. ESPN has the Jaguars at number 8, which I think were number 7, 8, 9, and all of them. He said the expected improvement on offense in the second season in Coach Doug Peterson's scheme has not materialized, and 2 of the biggest issues are the offensive line and third downs. O-line has played very well in pass protection in the past 2 days, just 1 sack and 4 QB hits. So they're just going through different numbers. They usually have a theme for every week, so that's where they have us at. So yeah, let's take a tally. We have 7, 8, 8, 6, 8, 7, 8. So we're in that range. I think a big impressive win over the Baltimore Ravens would do a lot to help that, but we'll just have to see. So yeah, this is me going through power rankings. Maybe we'll revisit this after. I don't know if we'll ever revisit this. Look, and We're 6 weeks away from the conclusion to the NFL season. Maybe after the Ravens game, maybe we'll do one more edition. If the Jaguars can beat the Ravens, maybe I'll come out here and go through this. And maybe at that point, maybe the Jaguars might be a number 1 seed. We'll see. And then we'll definitely want to get into this. But with all that said, great time to be a Jaguar fan. We are 8-3 with a stranglehold over the AFC South right now with just 6 games left. Get your popcorn ready. It should be a fun end of the season. Thank you guys for watching. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video. 125% deposit bonus down below. And go Jags.